Doing your first ever pharmaceutical roleplay for a job interview can definitely be daunting and feel like you're being dropped on the set of Thank God You're Here, or that you're even auditioning for one of the reality TV shows. But don't worry, I'm here to make sure you get that rose. Or in this case, make sure you have a stellar audition to get that job offer. Now, if we're meeting for the first time, my name's David Tong. I've been working in the pharmaceutical industry for the last 8 years and spent the last 5 specializing in sales. Using my experience, I'm going to break down the role play into 2 easy steps. The first one around 3 key objectives that we're looking for, and the second one is the structure of the call. So if we break down the 3 objectives for any role play or when you're even out on the road selling to doctors, there are 3 things you want to uncover. And this is summarized by the acronym PTP. What does this stand for? The first P stands for patient numbers. The second T stands for treatment goals. And the third stands for prescribing behavior. So starting at the top with patient numbers, you want to understand how often this doctor is seeing a patient that can benefit from your medicine to make sure you're spending your time wisely. Because if they only see 1 patient a year versus someone who sees 1 patient a day, this doctor, 1 versus this doctor, 365 patients, I sure as hell know where I'm going to be spending my time. Now, the treatment goal is understanding what does the doctor really want to achieve for their patients. And by uncovering that, you'll understand where you can add value to the doctor and start building that relationship. Now, the final P, prescribing behavior, is getting an understanding of what are they doing now to treat their patients. And typically in our role, we are trying to influence a behavior change. So that's our 3 objectives summarized by PTP. Now let's get into the flow or structure of your call. And again, there's 3 parts. Just like any good Disney story, it's intro, body, and close. Now, if you've been following this 3-part series, you'd know I've talked a lot about the 80-20 rule. And if you don't understand what the 80-20 rule is, pause this video now and go back and look at my 2-minute explainer on what the 80-20 rule is. I'll leave a link in the description so you can click there too. If we apply the 80-20 rule to this structure, I would be spending 80% of my time on the introduction, 10% on the body, 10% on the close. And that's mainly because for a first-time interview, I'd be focused on being curious, gathering insights, asking questions. In the real world, those percentages will definitely change. So let's start with the introduction. This is where you want to introduce yourself and build a little bit of rapport with the doctor. Then you want to uncover your 3 objectives, the PTP. Once you've done that, summarize what you've learned and play it back to the doctor, just to confirm you are actively listening. And this will be very impressive to the hiring manager as it shows you have great communication skills, and being a good listener is a standout trait for a sales representative. After that, there is a very critical step between introduction and body, and that's to state your aim for the conversation. Like I mentioned earlier, it's usually to cause a behavior change from doing A to now doing B. Then you'll go into your body, which is where you'll tell the doctor why they should be doing the behavior change you're after, and then C, you'll close. So for the close, I like to use a 3-step process. Firstly, we summarize the benefit of our medicine. Secondly, we ask for the commitment. And thirdly, we have a follow-up action. So let me do a live demonstration for you. But before I do, please give this video a like, because the YouTube algorithm actually ranks these videos. And if there is no engagement, there's no likes, there's no comments, I get buried in the wide world web of YouTube. And this knowledge and insight is lost. So please help me help you and others in similar positions by giving this video a like. Now let's get into the role play. And before I do, one trick that I always play as a new rep is to say that I am new, because that should signal to the doctor to go easy on me, because I'm still finding my feet. And to put yourself in a position of vulnerability is actually a skill in its own. So let's get into it. Hi, Dr. Smith. My name's David. I'm one of the new pharmaceutical reps from company ABC. How's your morning been so far? And continue to get to know them a little bit, ask them about their weekend. Okay, great. Well, as I mentioned, I'm one of the new reps and I'd love to ask you 3 questions just to help me understand your clinic, your patients a little bit better to make sure that I'm adding value. How does that sound to you, Dr. Smith? Here they usually say yes. Great. So my first question is, how often are you seeing a patient who has, then insert the therapy area or disease state your drug looks after? So again, how often would you be seeing a patient that has high cholesterol, has diabetes, has depression, etc.? Let the doctor respond. Oh, David, I see 5 patients a week. Wow, okay. So Dr. Smith, can you tell me what's your treatment goal for those patients if they come to you with diabetes? The doctor will reply, so the main goal for me is to get their blood sugar levels down and under control within the usual range. Oh, thank you for sharing that with me. Now, so far we've ticked off patient numbers and treatment goals. Now I want to understand the doctor's prescribing behavior. So Dr. Smith, if you're seeing a new diabetes patient this afternoon and you're trying to get their blood sugars under control and within the ranges that you just shared with me, what do you usually prescribe for them? Now, given this is a first time role play, I would imagine the person you're role playing with would go quite easy on you, because I think it is very, very unfair for them to throw an objection at a first timer. So this is what I anticipate the reply to be from Dr. Smith. I usually prescribe drug DEF because it's what I'm most familiar with. Or I like to prescribe drug DEF because I've never heard of your drug. Now we're getting close to the end of the introductory section. And this is where, again, I would play back what I've heard so far. So thanks for sharing, Dr. Smith. Just to make sure I've captured everything correctly, you see about 5 new diabetes patients a week. Your main goal is to get their diabetes and blood sugar levels under control, and you like using drug DEF because you haven't heard of our new drug. Is that correct? So that's my playback. Dr. Smith would say, yes, spot on. And this is a really, really good sign because it's showing that I'm listening and I've got the doctor's attention. So from here, this is where we insert the really, really critical piece, which is our aim or objective. And this is what it would sound like. So Dr. Smith, today I would like to show you why drug ABC from our company is going to help you treat your diabetes patients and get them to a better blood sugar level control than drug DEF. How does that sound? Dr. Smith usually responds with, yes, that would be great. But now we're going to get into the body, and this is where you sell to the doctor. And when I say sell, I mean influence their behavior. Usually you'll be given some kind of leave behind, and there's always a key selling message on the leave behind if marketing have done a good job. So all you need to do is read out that key selling message, and it's usually the headline above some kind of graph. So what I do is, so Dr. Smith, I'd like to show you this graph here, and what it shows is drug ABC reduces blood sugar levels by 50%. What do you think of this? Dr. Smith would say, wow, that's fantastic. Much better than what I thought and what I've seen with drug DEF. Tick, you've done the body. Let's move to the conclusion and summarize the benefit. So Dr. Smith, as we've discussed today, drug ABC helps reduce blood sugar levels for your diabetes patients by 50%. So I'm summarizing the benefit. Now I want to go to part 2, which is asking for commitment. Given this benefit, how comfortable are you to start your next diabetes patients on drug ABC? Dr. Smith would say, yes, very comfortable. Now the job's not done here. I want to follow up and provide as much support to Dr. Smith as I can. Great. What can I do to support this? Would you like some samples? And can I come back in 6 weeks to follow up, as I would love to hear the progress of this patient? Dr. Smith may say, it's okay, I don't need samples, or yes, I would love some samples. Let me just sign your iPad, and there's your opportunity to follow up in 6 weeks. And now, if we end the role play here, the hiring manager may ask you, hey, so David, what did you think of the role play? And I would say, I thought it went well. My objective was to uncover 3 things. Firstly, how many patients this doctor is seeing, and they're seeing 5 a week. So this would be an A target given they're seeing quite a large number of patients. My second goal was to understand their treatment goals so that I could ensure I was adding value to them. Number 3, I wanted to understand their prescribing behavior so I could influence a change. All in all, after learning about this doctor, I was able to gain their commitment to trial their next new diabetes patient on our drug ABC. So I believe I had a really fantastic call for my first time meeting this doctor. And there you have it. Psst, pressure released. But in the off chance you get a harder role play and there are objections thrown at you, click here to see how I would handle them.